April Fool's is around the corner, and I felt like needing something kind of funny, kind of dumb. Yeah, just something different. I made something. So, warning, it will get ridiculous. Not all techniques depicted in this video are based in reality. This is meant to be comedic. Please only follow the real steps if you repaint it all yourself. I try to make clear when it is meant to be comedic and when it is the real deal with this effect. To get your ingredients, you first need to find a kid. A boy, a girl, a sibling child, or the one of a neighbor. Doesn't matter. Anyone will do. As a basic rule, the smaller the critter, the easier it is to outsmart it. A small example like the one here can easily be distracted. A stick, a stone, or something sweet will do. Now you can easily collect your toy. A bigger one can be a challenge. Distract it with one of the other toys, then collect what you want. If a rather smart individual, you can blackmail it. If the only doll you could find has a different color than the one you want, grind her down into little shreds. After that, spread out your shreds onto a heat-resistant surface in the form of a doll. Now sprinkle on the right pigment. Melt it down with a heat gun. To combine the pigment and the doll, you have to mush it together from time to time. Repeat the process of melting it and smushing it together again and again. The plastic will remember the shape you want, and you can see limbs forming after some time. You are done as soon as the mixture forms a doll again. Enough of the shenanigans for the moment. I removed the clown out of the box that I bought used online and did not steal. Please don't steal. Then I took out an already destroyed doll that was gifted to me by my niece, and yeah, just removed what I originally had in mind with her. Because she had a broken leg, I decided to make a mermaid, but never finished her, so she was perfect for this project. I sliced her apart even more because I wanted to string her up so that her arms are a little bit more floppy, and when she pops out of the box, they will move at least a little bit. With my trusty soldering iron, I made holes into her body, one to sew her to the spring, and the other one to get the arms in with an elastic. After she was put together again, I first sewed her to the spring spiral thing, then hot glued her as well to have her as secure as possible in there. Though the neck pack was missing, I had to come up with another method, and yeah, though the head already was opened at one point, I cut it open completely and then just screwed it in place, more or less. To have still a bit of movement, I put a little bit of epoxy clay on top of the screw so that the head isn't able to pop off again. It was not as successful as I hoped. She is still able to move her head a little bit, but not as much as with the real neck pack, obviously. When she was glued back together, I then took out a paint that I bought ages ago. which is originally for these little figures from Warhammer and stuff like that. And yeah, I painted her with it. The problem was her body took it well, but the vinyl stayed sticky, so I removed it and replaced it again with acrylic paint. After a couple of layers of MSC, we were able to start the repaint. You may notice that her face is far lighter than her body. That is on purpose, because I wanted her to have a little bit of an Elizabethan vibe, as if she had whitened her face. First I thought, why not go the complete clown route, but while I was working on her I decided to leave her more Elizabethan. So the makeup is still subtle, you can read her as a clown, but not one of the creepy ones. I wanted her to be quite cute, because I think I will do the whole thing with the Jack-in-the-Box again for Halloween, and then it will be a very creepy one. But to make her look a little bit more silly, I decided to make her cross-eyed, just because. I made a sketch of it and I thought it was so funny that I decided to make it on the doll as well, and I completely love it. Every time when I look at her, I have to smile because of her quite strange eyes. So that is why I made her cross-eyed. And I really do think she turned out insanely cute. I really like her. This time I really did quite a lot of the details in acrylic, and I'm happy with the result. So then it was time to give her eyelashes and some gloss over the eyes and the mouth, and we were done with the repaint. For her outfit, of course, we needed some fabrics, and if you keep your eyes open, you can find fabric for your dolls nearly everywhere. For example, your mother's sofa cushions, your brother's bed sheets, or your granny's curtains. Funny enough, the yellow fabric really was a pillowcase. But it was gifted to me because it was damaged, so it wasn't stolen as well. I took the original clown that was in the box and made a pattern out of him for the skirt for the doll, and I put it onto white cotton fabric just to give it a bit more stability. Then I put the white cotton onto the yellow fabric and cut out a lot of squares from a blue satin and a green velvet, put them onto the doll, or onto the skirt, stitched everything together and hit the stitches with some purple ribbon, which looked quite well in the end. And yeah, rest of the outfit was made off camera because it was a lot of hand stitching, and I was inspired by Alechino from the Commedia dell'arte and quite a bit from Elizabethan fashion. Yeah. So the next step was finding some hair for her. The hair can be harvested quite quick if you have hair yourself. If not, find someone who has and attack them with your scissors. It should be obvious that of course you don't attack anyone with scissors, and yeah, you don't take hair from a human individual. Only if the individual says, yes, of course you can have it. This was yarn hair. I glued it onto her and then took out the cap I made and glued that onto her as well. The whole process was had to do with a lot of glue because everything needs to be secure and stay in place so that she won't pop out when she pops out of her box. Speaking of the box, I sanded it down and then gessoed the heck out of it. I think it took me 5 coats. Then I painted another color on, put on some varnish. And because I wasn't in the mood for painting something, I decided to draw it with my alcohol markers and just glue it in place. The artwork I made was again inspired by the Commedia dell'arte. This time I took 4 of the main characters and painted them with my alcohol markers and then glued it to the box. After that was dried, I put on some varnish, some layers of varnish, and the box was done as well. Finally, it was time to assemble all of it. To assemble it, we obviously need to go to the kitchen. Take a huge pot, put some water into it, and bring it to boiling temperature. Then you can put in your box, the doll, and spice everything up with the clothing. Stir until well combined. Let it boil until most of the liquid is gone. Take a look at it from time to time. If it is in a state like this one, it's not done yet. Glue. Of course, it was glue, not cooking it in a pot. So I took out the contact cement and put it onto the skirt part and inside the box to have it as secure as possible. My goal was that it will never come apart again. When it wasn't tacky anymore, I glued it together, and then it was time to mix up some epoxy resin. Put it into the box and put my doll in, so that the whole spring piece will be cemented in place for all eternity. I don't want any shenanigans with it coming off again. So, yeah, I put in epoxy resin and let it sit for 24 hours. Then it really was done. The skirt was glued onto her with contact cement as well. Then I stitched up the back seam, put her top onto her, stitched that close, and she was done. It was time to try out if everything worked. So I tried to stuff her into her box, and she was too big for it. It closed, but just barely. I was so annoyed by this that I took her out again and, sort of part of her body. Now she is only a head, arms, and the upper body. But, when I had everything glued back together, this time only with hot glue, I couldn't be bothered to wait anymore. You see that she doesn't have the whole upper body anymore, but it was a lot better, I think. She still does not fit entirely inside the box, but at least she pops out of it. Just to make sure that everyone knows this, none of the dolls shown in this video were harmed, except for her. But with her, it was supposed to be, and I think I made it up to her in the end. The only one that really was harmed was him. But I think that is a victim I can deal with. With that, we are done. This was quite intense to film all the silly stuff. I hope you still enjoyed the video and it was fun for you. I had quite a lot of fun coming up with all that insane stuff, and it made me smile. So I think I achieved what I was looking for, and by the way, made a doll that I think looks quite cool. I hope this video gave you something to at least smile over, because we all know we are in a time that is quite rough, and I think to have a laugh from time to time, even about something as silly as this video, might be good. So I hope you are well, and we will see us in another video. Bye.